Hi everyone, just wanted to chime in about the application development paper. This will not be a very long video because I think most of you have a pretty good idea as to where you are within this application development. But I will say, in a lot of these circumstances, in the perfect world, your annotated bibliography give you all the research and literature you could possibly want and need for this paper. But in the case that you're part of like the 97% of students who are not sufficed with the research that they had originally collected, that's okay, right? What the annotated bibliography did hopefully gave you some sort of idea as to where your application development is. And at this point, you've already pitched your application development, and it's not too late to change it if all your feedback was terrible, which I don't think it was for anyone. But from a written perspective, what we want from the application development, it should look like this in a very basic form. The introduction, so the very first paragraph, should introduce us, crazy how that works, introduce us to your application, what the application is called, what basic keywords or literature there is out there, and then the format of what's going to come next. Okay, so a very basic introduction, short and sweet. Here's an attention-getting device, here's what the application is named, here's why it's named that, and here's its basic function with a little bit of alluding to literature. The second, third, and maybe even fourth paragraph should be the literature review. And at this point, what you're doing is you're taking that stuff from the annotated bibliography or things that you've added so far, 3 minimum peer scholarly reviewed sources. And what you're doing is you're saying, okay, so here's the application that I introduced. And basically what it's looking at is, let's say, impression management. Here's what the literature says that supports this application being developed, right? So you're basically addressing a need that this application is hopefully trying to fill. So if people are having a lot of trouble in their individual lives, maybe relationally, maintaining identity, your application helps to remedy that. And so what you'll do is you just pull from research. Research says that people need some sort of closure when it comes to uncertainty. Boom, that's one reason. People need to be able to talk about their different elements of relational success within their relationships. Boom, there you go. The next paragraphs, after you've talked about this literature, is to talk about the actual application itself. And this is usually the hardest part for people. Your job is to build the bridge between the literature and the application itself. So imagine the first time you open up an application, that splash screen, the first thing that you see. What do you navigate from past that? What are the main features of that application? And that's what you should be thinking about. When I open up this application that helps me with impression management, what is the first tab that I can click? What does it do and why does it do that? Your literature should provide some sort of insight to help generate that. If the literature says that people need some certainty when it comes to maintaining their own personal identity online, the first app that you click, the first little tab in there, should help to focus on that literature that you presented. And then the second literature you presented for the second tab, and third tab, and fourth tab, and so on and so forth. Hopefully not to the fifth tab. Short and sweet. We're not actually trying to create an application, although we've had people actually pursue this very seriously, moving past it. And the last paragraph is something that is a conclusion. It simply wraps up all the information that you've talked about thus far, and it connects all of the pieces together. Outside of the written paper itself, we have a couple of interesting components. Number one, an appendix. I'll send you a little bit of insight as to what it looks like to wireframe or to give us an actual visual representation of the application itself, because it helps you actually sort of navigate through all of this, and it also helps me understand exactly what you're trying to talk about, because sometimes the visual element is helpful. No, I won't be grading you on this appendix. This is completely optional, but it is incredibly beneficial to make sure that you actually understand what the application is. Okay, I'm not grading you on creativity or color. If it's literally black and white and boxes and arrows, perfect. The second thing, which you're actually graded on, is this digital pitch. And the digital pitch is essentially, but not exactly, you reading your paper. You going through the introduction, you going through the body, the conclusion, all of the application's functions, and connecting all the pieces together. So if you have any questions about the application development paper, please let me know. We have a lot of documents, including an actual sample on D2L if you click the content tab. And again, If this is something that you've never done before, because I think this is the only class that really offers an assignment like this, you're probably a little bit confused and you probably need a little bit of help. And so weird, I get paid to do that for you. So again, jokes aside, if you need help, you have any questions, please let me know.